Very good morning, children. Welcome to science class. So today I would like to share screen and I would like to start my lesson with OneNote. Already we have completed day 1, mind mapping of food components, introduction, letters to 1, letters to listing of food components. Now we will go with day 2 components. I mean to say day 2 topics, children. Let us do 3 confirmation of presence of food components, children. So for this experiment, you need to collect different types of foods. So what are the food components, children? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins. So basic components I'll give you what you need to collect. Okay, materials like test tube you can collect. So from any food item you can test it, from milk or from potato, little quantity of oil also and ghee also you can test. Okay, from this food also you can test what would be the uh, components. Okay, yeah. So what are the materials? General materials required are test tube, stand, experimental stand, petri dishes. See, these are the petri dishes and this is a dropper. Okay, now we will get into the experiment, children. First we will go with test for the presence of starch. Starch is nothing but carbohydrates only, one of the component of food, children, essential component. So before starting any experiment, we will start an experiment with aim, apparatus, procedure, observation and result. In this format, we will learn an experiment because when you are writing it would be very presentable. So what is the aim of the experiment? To test the presence of starch. What are the apparatus required? Test tube, stand, plate, dropper and chemicals. And procedure. The procedure is that preparation of dilute iodine solution. Dilution is nothing but mixing with water. See, children, so we need preparation of dilute iodine solution. This is the iodine solution, isn't it? Okay, it is also written as betadine. Even we can use that. Okay, iodine solution. So we have diluted the iodine solution. Now what is the procedure? Take test tube or a cup and add few drops of iodine crystal into it, and you add few drops of water. Then it will be a iodine solution. Now what you need to take? You need to take a food sample in a test tube and add few drops of dilute iodine solution into the sample. Take some food sample and drop iodine solution and mix it thoroughly. So children, after dilution, the iodine will be some light yellow or brown color. Okay, but after when it is mixing up with food, what would be the observation? If the substance turns dark blue or black, it contains starch. Okay, we can confirm it is starch. Or else if the substance is not changing into dark blue or black color, that means it do not contain starch. This is the observation, and result of the experiment is the substance is changed to dark blue or black color, then only it confirms the presence of starch. That's it. So this is about the presence of starch experiment. Starch is nothing but carbohydrates, nothing but glucose. Okay? Yes. So let's get into the next topic. Test for the presence of protein, fats, children. We'll first go with the fats. Okay. How? So what is the aim of the experiment? To prove that fat is present in the given food item. So how? What are the apparatus required? Only food item and paper. That's it, children. And what is the procedure? Take a small quantity of food sample and rub it gently on a piece of paper. Generally we do. Just recall your past experience when you have eaten vada or any other food item on a paper plate. You might have noticed the paper plate turning translucent, right? So see, in this way the paper plate will be turning. See, this is a piece of pizza. The paper plate is turning into translucent. Yes, so the observation is it may turn into translucent or may not. But if it is turning into translucent, that means fat is present. Fat is detected. Okay, fat is detected. If the paper does not turn translucent, then the fat is not detected in the food item. That's it. Very simple experiment. Okay, yes. So this is about the test for the fats. Let's go with the test for the presence of protein. So hear it carefully, children. So aim of the experiment is to test the presence of protein in the food item. So what are the apparatus required? 2 drops of copper sulfate solution, 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution, test tube, food paste or food powder, okay, and water and dropper. Procedure. So we require two things, children: preparation of 2% copper sulfate solution and 10% of sodium hydroxide solution. So how can you prepare 2% of copper sulfate solution? When I say solution, that means mixing up with water, right? So we need to take 2 grams of copper sulfate and mix it with 100 ml of water. Then it will become, yeah, 2% of copper sulfate solution. And for 10% of sodium hydroxide, caustic soda, dissolve 10 grams of sodium hydroxide in 100 ml of water. That's it. Okay, for 10% we are dissolving 10 grams, for 2% we are dissolving 2 grams, and both we are dissolving in 100 ml of water. Okay, then this will turn up into a solution. So what would be the experiment? See, one more important point I would like to discuss here. 1 gram of sodium hydroxide is equal to 6 pellets of sodium hydroxide. We need to take, you need to take a food, okay, you need to take a test tube. Take 10 drops of solution in a clean test tube, and in that you add food, children. You need to add some paste of food and nicely mix up, tap the test tube and mix it. Okay, 10 drops of water. After that you just put some water. This will become a, along with the food paste you are putting some water, right? It will become a food solution. After that, what you have to take, you need to take, see, for example, just I would like to discuss, if the substance you wish to test is a solid, grind it into paste or powder, children. Okay, so after that, take 10 drops of solution, food solution only, in a clean test tube, and add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution and 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution in the test tube, and shake very well, very much well. Already we have prepared the solutions. So what would be the observation? See, the color of the solution may change to violet or purple if protein is present, or if protein is not present, it will not change to violet or purple. See here, are you able to see violet or purple? See, observation. It is also known as Buret test. Buret test is nothing but protein test. This is protein and this is negative test, showing negative. That means protein is not present there. So if the color is changed to violet or purple, it confirms the presence of protein. If the color is not changed to violet or purple, it will not confirm the presence of protein. That's it. Very simple it is. Okay. So this is the test for the presence of protein. Next we will go with letters to activity, testing of food items. Children, you have an activity in your textbook, okay? So you can enrich the table by adding more food substances. See, just go through it. Rice, how much starch, do we have starch or not, protein or not, fats or not. Same way, potato, milk, curd, egg, and I have given a couple of questions for you. Okay, you also complete it. It's about the previously taught topics only. Next, we will go to the next topic. It is nothing but roughages or dietary fibers, children. So what are roughages? They are nothing but, they are found in the food only, children. In fruits and vegetables we find roughages. Okay, there are some components of food that are necessary for our body called as roughages. They are also known as dietary fibers. So here in all the fruits and vegetables, yes, you will find the roughages. So let's go with another topic like the roughages in some food items. We will see in which food items we can see roughages. So let's go with sea ribbed gourd. Okay, here this is also a roughage. Bunch beans is a roughage. Lady's finger is a roughage. Boiled sweet potato is a roughage, isn't it? So roughages are a kind of carbohydrates, children, that our body fails to digest. So don't think that whichever food we take, everything will be digested. So we will have a bowel movements daily, right? So bowel movements, in bowel movement, this roughages help for the easy bowel movement and it will prevent the constipation. So bowel movement is nothing but defecation. So what we will defecate daily, children? The food which is not useful, I mean to say waste products, along with the undigested food. So this roughages will smooth the bowel movement and it will help us to get rid of the waste materials and undigested food out of our body. It is a final act of digestion by which organisms eliminate solid waste. Okay, yes, solid or liquid waste or semi-solid waste. And if we consume roughages and if we consume good fruits and vegetables, I mean to say there will never be a problem of constipation. Constipation is nothing but when a person passes less than 3 bowel movements a week or has difficult bowel movements, that is known as constipation. See, large intestine bowel will be accumulated like this too. So we need to have good amount of water and good amount of dietary fibers. They are nothing but roughages. Then definitely it will help us to clear our bowel movements. Okay, clear our large intestine, which is a very healthy sign of a healthy person. Okay, yes, so this is about roughages. So next go with the source of roughages, children. What are the other sources of roughages? I would just like to go with bran. See here, bran is nothing but, children, it is also known as a miller's bran. Is a hard outer layer of a cereal grain. And shredded wheat, we have biscuits, right? Wheat biscuits, shredded wheat biscuits. So this is a good source for roughage. And cereals, okay, you have Kellogg's and all, many different cereals, right? They are also very good source of roughages. And fruits and vegetables, see, all your favorite fruits and vegetables, they are also this good source of roughages. And sweet potato and plain potato, both are good source of dietary fibers. And peas and berries, your favorite berries and peas. Okay, next, pumpkins are also good roughages. Palak, I hope you all love palak paneer, right? So palak is also a very good source of roughage. And next, coming to apple is also a very good source. And we have one more fruit here, banana. Wow, it is also a good roughage. And papaya also. Okay, so one important thing I would like to discuss here, that do not peel or discard any outer layer of the fruit or vegetables, children, because they are rich in nutrients. Peels contain fiber which helps in digestion, but generally we have the habit of eating some fruits without peels, right? Don't do that. Okay, we have banana without peels, that's okay, but apples, grapes, you cannot take the peel. Okay, so so don't peel or discard the outer layers of a fruit or vegetables. They are rich in nutrients, children, and they contain fiber which helps in digestion. But nowadays farmers use pesticides, right? Pesticide, side is nothing but killing, pest is nothing but insects. To kill insects, he is using pesticides. So you may say, teacher, it might be danger, no? When if it falls on peel, then it could be very difficult for us to consume because it's dangerous. Then in this situation, what you need to do? That is the reason you need to wash it with salt, children. Salt water. We need to wash it with salt water thoroughly and then consume the food. Okay? Yes. So this is about the source, roughages. Next, go into the next topic, water. Water, children. So water is a very essential component, children. We need, isn't it? Our body need it. So we should drink sufficient water daily. Yeah. So most of the fruits and vegetables also contain water, children. So you do you know that we get water from fruits and vegetables also? Okay. Yeah. So observe the above fruits and vegetables, and you will know. So can you find water? See, we find water in potato. We find it, isn't it, children? Most vegetables like potato, beans, we find water. Kira is nothing but cucumber. Okay, in summer season we'll have it more, right? Even tomatoes we find water. Gourds and fruits like apples also, apples, melons, and papaya, they all contain water. It's a good source of water. Okay, yes. So water is very, very essential, children. Let's go with an activity regarding water, children. Okay, let's know the use of water. See, take a piece of sponge and try to move it in this pipe like this, sponge. Okay, so when you can observe, it moves with some difficulty, children. Now you remove the sponge and from this particular pipe and dip it in water and try to move it again in the pipe. Then you will observe that it is freely moving and smoothly moving into the pipe. So why does it move freely? Because we have dipped it in water. In the same way, water is food and it also helps the food to move easily in the digestive tract. Okay, so water helps in many other processes in our body as well, children. So why does our body need water, children? Because water contains minerals and electrolytes. We need to include water in our diet. It dissolves other substances and carries nutrients and other materials around the body, making it possible for every organ to do its job. Water is food and it also helps the food to move easily in the digestive tract. Water helps in many other processes in our body as well. So we need to drink plenty of water. Okay, so that's it for today, children. Next class we will continue with another topics. Thank you. I hope you understood the class. Complete your assignments.